look incredibly hot, but it's really going to be hard to chase this thing up. So if you come in and chase this thing up hot, then man, we got no choice. We need to fade the open probably a little bit till we start to come back and fill some of this gap. Just for the fact that we're up like 1.5%. But if you look at it, we've been bouncing now. This is the fifth day, 5th out of 6. We had one rest day. 5th day bounce. Oh, man, this is going to be much trickier. Yesterday and the day before were very easy days to trade. I think today is going to be, I wouldn't say choppy, because choppy is like a really shitty word to use for the markets, but I do think it's going to be frustrating, I'm pretty sure, due to the fact that this gap is hot. Let's now look. So when you do get a big gap in the market, like a couple things that you want to be doing. Number one is like you want to look for stocks that have some type of catalyst or some type of earnings, so you don't have to like necessarily react to the market. When you think about like stocks that have earnings, they're going to move, or some type of PR, they're going to move independently to what's happening with the market. So you can have like a really overbought market that needs to fade or whatever it might need to do, but like a PR play is going to do whatever it wants. So like this SDLB, like I won't trade this thing, but like this thing is, right? This thing is, whether the market's hot or not, this thing's gonna pump, right? It's gonna pump and it's gonna dump and it's gonna do what it wants, because that's what those kind of stocks do. It's got its own PR. So you don't have to look at the market as deeply when you have stuff like this. So just something like this. By the way, you could probably trade this today. The volume on it at 18 million shares. You've got enough of a range break here to kind of get this thing going. No small caps for me. It's Thursday, but it does look pretty nice. And we've seen some of these right recently, like really go bonkers. It's a 17 million share float. It's only a $100 million company, so it's right in that sweet spot of something that could go. ENLV, this thing had some kind of PR out, but you can already see this thing's probably it's fading off the gap. Leave that alone. AEL, investment deal to form insurance joint venture with variety of partners. Insurance companies always trade like shit. Dun, 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 dun. AMAC. I'd probably pass on that. BBW. Man, okay. Bed Bath & Beyond fiscal Q2 results beat estimates. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? This is a retail company, but it's starting to break out. I would actually add this to the list here. It's holding up pretty well. It's thick, but it's not like a huge float stock. It's only about 122 million, which in this market is actually fairly light. I'd add that to the list. Not BBY, but BBW, BBWs. If I could turn back time. Oh, fuckers. Sale Technologies. Alright. So sale point to replace Sally Beauty, blah, blah, blah. Analyst. 11-4. Sale Technologies, huh? I'm not familiar with this bad boy. That's a big breakout. What do you think? I don't know how much liquidity is going to be in this thing. I mean, normally it does $1 million. I'm going to add it to the list for now. We might take it off. The reason I want to add to the list, number one, it's breaking out to all-time highs. The second part is obviously something on this, like it's in the software space and it's an IPO. If you look back here, it's a fairly new issue from 2018, and it's breaking out to all-time highs, and software stocks in general have been pretty hot, so probably something worth keeping a look at. FVAC, Fortress Value Acquisitions. That's a SPAC. Anybody see the news on this? This one's like setting up for a breakout. We haven't been trading this one in particular as much as some of the other ones, like iBob and some of the other ones. What do you think? Let's take a look. I didn't see what the news was in this little turd. Rare metal, blah, 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 blah. And they're buying some mine. It's significant indirect needs, rare earths, much come on the hot stuff. we'll add it to the list because anything over 16, I mean, this thing flies regardless. So the caveat on this is it's going to have to tighten up, and probably if it takes out the pre-market high today, that should get it over the 16, and then at that point, I think, we're going to have like a much nicer play. I'm not keen on it till it gets there. Nicola's doing a little bit of a pop here. It's starting to round. Frankly, with Nicola, if it gets back into like this 26-30 range in a couple days, we'll look to short it. It's really hard to kind of short it into the hole. I think it does bounce for probably a few days. General Motors reportedly could demand bigger Nikola stake. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So that doesn't mean anything. I still think this thing fades off. But I do think it's going to pop for a couple days. PLL. This PLL is starting to bounce. So these guys, they had the deal with Tesla. Tesla's going to buy some stuff off them. It's gapping up a little bit today. Keep an eye on yesterday's high. It's no good till it breaks yesterday's high. If it breaks over yesterday's high, I actually think this one you probably get a little bit of bounce on. It ran to 55, you pulled back, 22, you're starting to curl its way back. That one looks pretty good. Corsair Gaming, man. You know what? Johnny Lincoln, you're trading this the first couple days, huh? Should have just held that thing. PRVB, bump, junk. All right, we're going to straighten up our list in a second, by the way. I'm not seeing anything that hot that I like. Yeah, look at this funky donk. These things didn't wait for us today. The problem with gap days in the market is see all these kind of stocks. This thing was dumping end of day. Now we got to buy this thing at 75 instead of 71. It's rather annoying. I do think Penn is probably going to break out here. It's a little bit long in the tooth, but not terribly. Yesterday's high was 75. That anything over that will trigger, and then look for day trades in it. I'd much rather this market dump off at the open so we can kind of get a little bit of a baby shred, but we'll see what's up. Let's see on the downside. Jump. Dun. Let's see here. Yeah, jug. All right, let's go into the regular watch list here. ZM's holding at the 9 EMA. I got this on bounce watch. LVGO at a breakout. 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. Looking at the breakout. Crowd, I think this is our top play for today. If you look here on the 15-minute chart, I mean, it's ready to go pretty much right now. Stops under yesterday's low if you want to swing. If you're day trading, we hit this thing on an ORB. ORB means minimum 3 sideways candles. Fuck this FSO. Big C actually yesterday was a nice little rest day. It dumped end of day. I actually think that's positive for the company. You want to see after a big day, 1 rest day. Now we got not too big of a gap. This stock moves like crazy. We were trading this a couple days ago. It had $12, $13 range. Let's see if we can get back into that zone. It's got a 1% gap up. If you start the build around here, I think we see 90s, very, very quickly. Penn, Donkey Kong, these are daily traders for us, till the trends break, they're just daily traders for us. And the rest of this stuff is just junk. We'll see what's going on. One stock to add to the list. I do think this U is bouncy. You got up to 100, it pulled back to the 9. Nice 8, got down to 85. This friggin' gap really kind of ruined things. But I think it's going to be okay. I like this one a lot. It's had a nice $20 pullback. It does trade a little bit thin, so what you want to do on this, first of all, hopefully it fills back this gap a little bit. We don't want to chase this thing up because it'll just end up being an inside day. We really need this thing closer to the 9. If the market pulls back at the open, this thing is red hot. We'll get this thing going. If we could get that thing like 86, 87, stops under the 9, we might even be able to, add a few for a swing trade. This Asana IPO was garbage. The Planter IPO was garbage. Nas was garbage. Yeah. LVGO crowd the face. All right? That's the list. Any questions? If I could turn back time. Sweet. Anybody got any tickers they want me to look at? Dun, 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 dun. Let's take a look. Okay. Hold on. Peloton, hold on. All right. Let me take a look here. Yeah, I did finish early yesterday. We just had, we had a pretty hot morning, so it's easy enough. There's no point in sticking around. Let me see here. Peloton. Peloton is just a grinder. There's not really a setup in it. It's more just, you just trade it back and forth because it's a trend. There's not really anything in it. It's been trending for days. If you were going to swing it, like you really would need it like down over here, it's not, not anything in there. Sumo. This could work if it's like more of a swing. It's messy though. I think there's a little bit. Hey, Johnny. We finally got one. Yes, I do think D-Dog is a candidate for a red to green. This thing had that awesome... Man, I fucked this thing up hard yesterday. I had like a couple thousand shares around here. I sold this thing early. Like a loser. I was not happy with myself. Yeah, I do think that... I think that one's going to be okay. Tesla's always been a tricky trader for me. It's algo city on this stock. It's easier for me to trade like a little bit of a thinner float stock. The float on this is like 1 billion shares. It's algo city on this. I think there's just, there's cleaner plays. Like there's easier plays to trade. Apple does look, so to me, Apple looks like more like kind of a swinger. At this point, it's remounted semis. It looks exactly like the NASDAQ. So it's just kind of like a swinger and a grinder. It's, you're going to have to, it's not a fast one, that's for sure. It's just something you're going to, if you're in it, like you're going to have to hold it for like 2 months. Let me see. Usman, how you doing, brother? So look, this lift is like just stuck in a range. In a market where there's like so many stocks that are trending, there's just no reason to trade something that's like flat-lined out. In absence of trend, like you really get stuck. But in a hot market, dead money like is no money. If you're sitting on a stock with, dead money. So I just kind of pass. A couple people were asking about Asana. Asana was moving like junk yesterday. These IPOs have been getting sold off. That one, the last like few of them, at least in the first couple days. So I'd probably wait it out. I think out of all the IPOs, this U is the best one. Cool. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Guys, trade well. You know what we'll do? Hopefully we can... Yesterday was a nice day. I don't want to try to end my days too early because Cuckoo was on the booze train yesterday. If you try to stay off there. Maybe we don't need to shred too hard at the open. Cuckoo was on the train. All right, that's the list. I'm sticking